Chapter 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Welcome to the Divine Tree Floating Island. All Divine Tree Masters please read the following rules. 1. The floating island is divided into day and night. The sacred tree needs to absorb sunlight to grow. 2. Every once in a while, the Divine Tree Master will encounter an invasion from the Grey World, please be careful. 3. The Divine Tree Master can take the initiative to enter the Grey World, where there are endless opportunities and items. The premise is that he can come out of the Grey World alive. For any items produced by the Sacred Tree and Grey Realm can be exchanged in the transaction panel, but be careful of being cheated. 5. If you have traveled through the Grey World and found other Sacred Tree Masters, congratulations. You can choose to form an alliance with other Sacred Tree Masters, or you can choose to kill each other to obtain the territory of their floating island and sacred tree, and you can move back and forth between the two places. 6. The floating island will regularly conduct phase boss tests. For those who pass the test, the floating island will rise to a higher level and face new challenges and opportunities. 7. The last surviving Divine Tree Master will become a god. Good luck to everyone. Lu Shu came to his senses. In front of me, a set nickname panel appeared. Lu Shu thought for a while and entered. Lushuran. Dear player, Shuran, no one has registered your nickname yet, but it has been reviewed. Looking around, there is a brand new scene in front of me. Grassland. Cabin, sunlight. Islands. However, the view looks into the distance. The island is surrounded by a layer of grey fog. There is the terrifying Grey World. The Grey Realm surrounded the Sacred Tree Island, cutting off everything. In this world, everyone has become an island. Am I going to eat grass next? Lu Shu looked around and couldn't help but complain. There was no water source, no living things nearby, and no extra vegetation except grass. System. Lu Shu muttered in his heart. Then, several options popped up in front of him. Personal Information World Public Screen Trading Platform Grey World Map Warehouse, Open. Personal information, in addition to the highlights of, characters, sacred tree, spiritual pet divine weapons, are all dark and have not been unlocked yet. In this case, Lu Shu first chose to check, character, divine tree master, tree raider. Ability, NaN, training level, NaN, talent, 100-fold increase, SSS. Level, fruit of all realms, SSS-level, spring revival, SSS-level, luck, E.spirit, E.divine tree, 0, the seeds are not sown. Tip, ask the Sacred Tree Master to open the warehouse as soon as possible and select the Sacred Tree seeds for sowing. Lu Shu immediately followed the prompts and opened the warehouse. There is only one item inside. Sacred Tree seed. With a thought, a seed filled with divine light appeared in Lu Shu's palm. It also feels a little refreshing. Lu Shu swept around and walked towards the center of the island. After the sacred tree grows up, it can support the water and soil in all directions. When the time comes, the island will also be blessed by the sacred tree, so it is best to plant it in the middle. Arrive at your destination. Lu Shu gently leaned down and buried the seeds of the sacred tree in the soil. Buzz. A strange sound came. The golden sunshine was like an angel's blessing, landing on the location of the seed. In the blink of an eye, a small sapling burst out of the ground. Although it was just a small sapling, the brilliance of its leaves flowed, as if it contained divine power. Sex. At this moment, new, sacred tree, information panel appeared in front of Lu Shu. Divine tree, stage, small sapling, sunlight, 120/day, 1.2 by 100, aura, 100/day, 1.0 by 100, remaining capacity of subspecies spiritual tree, 1. Product, aura fruit, production cycle, 2.5 days. 250 divided by 100 is equal to 2.5, growth points, 2.2x 100 equals 220/day. Next stage, spirit tree, 600 growth points. It is indeed a 100-fold increase. Lu Shu's eyes lit up. Originally, if he were just the most ordinary divine tree master, he would only need 2.2 growth points per day at most. To cultivate a sapling into a spiritual tree, he would need 600 growth points. Normally, it would cost one. It takes many years to cultivate a sapling. this is when the sunlight and aura of the floating island have amplification properties. However, after having 100-fold amplification, Lu Shu only needs to sit quietly for 2 days to grow into a sapling. Spiritual tree. In addition, the spiritual energy fruit should be related to cultivating immortals, right? After sowing the seeds, Lu Shu found awkwardly that he didn't seem to have to do anything, just lie down and that's it. Anyway, the divine tree itself, it will grow. Taking advantage of this waiting time, Lu Shu opened the world public screen. On the public channel, chat messages from other players kept popping up. Brothers, do you have a water source there? The sun is so bright here, sister, I'm going to be dehydrated. That being showing and I got an. It will take hundreds of days for the sacred tree to mature. What is going on in this game? We are not going to starve to death like this, right? Luckily I chose the talent of fruit professional. Even small saplings can produce fruits. I only need to wait a few days for the fruits to be eaten. The African chiefs expressed their envy to those upstairs. I worship Emperor O for awakening such a great talent. I have awakened an S-level talent, but it has nothing to do with the fruit. Is it possible that I will starve to death before the sacred tree is planted? Those in Versailles like the one above should be beaten to death. Oh no, just starve to death as soon as possible. In the chat box, there was a wailing sound. Many divine tree masters who did not have the talent related to awakening fruits probably had to wait until the saplings grew into spiritual trees before they could bear fruits. Lu Shu thought of his awakened, fruit of all worlds, can be regarded as a fruit talent. Spirit fruits can be born when saplings grow. There is no need to worry about food sources at all. Just wait quietly in place. Boom. Suddenly, there is a sound from the sky. There was a burst of thunder. It rained heavily. Other sacred tree masters thanked each other in the chat group. At least, after a heavy rain, there is a water source to ensure that everyone will not die of thirst in the next few days. Your sapling absorbs the rainwater and gets +1 growth points. Your sapling absorbs the rainwater and gets +1 growth points. Lu Shu suddenly saw an extra line of small blue words absorbing water in the status bar of Sacred Tree. At the same time, the growth rate has also temporarily changed. 3.2x 100 equals 320/day. The sunlight, spiritual energy, and rain from the divine tree floating island all have a nourishing effect on the divine tree, and Lu Shu has awakened the heaven-defying talent of 100-fold increase. Just by absorbing natural rainfall, his growth rate can be greatly increased. Lu Shu was also surprised to find a big basin in the cabin. He quickly took out the basin and collected the rainwater, in and out, in less than a minute. Just walking out of the wooden house, Lu Shu suddenly discovered that the sapling in the center of the island had grown a lot and turned into a small tree half a meter high. Got it. Under a branch and leaf, a crystal-clear blue fruit grew at a speed visible to the naked eye. Ding! You have obtained a primary spiritual energy fruit. Chapter 3. You are listening at NaVoFull.audio. It turns out that rainwater can speed up the production and growth of sacred trees. Lu Shu's eyes lit up. He immediately realized that all the resources on this island are related to the sacred tree: sunshine, spiritual energy, rainwater. And all the items that may be obtained later. In comparison, rainwater it is a rarer resource, therefore, it can double the growth rate of the sacred tree. So inferring from this, we may be able to obtain resources that are scarcer than rain in the future. With the blessing of 100-fold increase, the growth rate of the sacred tree, isn't that like a rocket? Lu Shu stepped forward. At this moment, the spiritual energy fruit was completely mature, and the product, in the sacred tree, has been updated. The product, skill fruit, spiritual energy fruit, production cycle, 1.25 days, 250/200. Rain can double the production cycle of the sacred tree. With the SSS-level talent of 100-fold increase, you only need to wait for 1 day for new fruits to be born. From the system, Lu Shu could easily guess that the next product would not only have spiritual energy fruits, but also an additional skill book. The capacity of my subspecies spiritual tree is only one. Spring resurrection, talent can bury fruits in the soil and give birth to a subspecies of spiritual tree that specializes in producing one type of fruit, but can produce 100 of them in one growth cycle. However, the number of subspecies spiritual trees is limited, and this limitation may be based on the growth level of the divine tree itself. It is still in the form of a sapling, so it only has one location. Lu Shu thought for a moment and did not choose to take the spiritual energy fruit immediately. Instead, he chose to pick the fruit and bury it in the soil next to it. At this moment, a tree quickly rose from the ground after being moistened by the rain, and it even grew taller than the sacred tree. A new interface popped up in front of Lu Shu. Aura fruit tree, variety, subspecies spirit tree, product, aura fruit, cycle, 1.825 days, 365/200, production times remaining, 3. Originally, the production cycle of the subspecies spirit tree took 1 year, but with the blessing of rain and a 100-fold increase, fruits can be produced in less than 2 days. Awesome! Lu Shu looked at this scene and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. 100 times increase plus fruit of all realms plus spring recovery. When these 3 SSS-level talents are combined, the effect is truly incredible. The rest just needs to wait. The next day, Lu Shu stretched himself from the cabin and got up. After the heavy rain last night, this morning, the sun is exceptionally bright. Open, world public screen. I'm so hungry. I drank a lot of rainwater yesterday and my stomach feels so uncomfortable. How long will it take for it to mature? If I don't have any more fruit to eat, I will die. Damn it. What kind of cheating game is this? It doesn't want us to die here, does it? If this continues, I will have to eat grass to survive. Fruit talent means being fearless. If you are hungry for a few days, you will have something to eat, and at least you will not die. Golyalu. After seeing the messages sent by other players, Lu Shu couldn't help but feel hungry. He walked out of the wooden house. The saplings had grown as high as 2 meters. 2 elite fruits also emerged from the branches and leaves. Produced. Ding. You have obtained a low-level spiritual skill, Juyuan Ju. Ding. You have obtained an intermediate spiritual energy fruit. It turned out to be an intermediate spiritual energy fruit. Lu Shu suddenly felt a little heartbroken. He didn't expect that the products at this stage, although they were all spiritual energy fruits, were more advanced. If he had known about it, he would have buried this intermediate spiritual energy fruit. But after thinking about it, it's not a big loss. After all, planting takes time. Plant early and harvest early. If you can wait for the intermediate spiritual energy fruit, then you can wait for the high-level spiritual energy fruit, and maybe the best spiritual energy fruit. Wait for the party to wait. Is it possible? Wait until the next life. Moreover, Lu Shu realized that with so many spiritual energy fruits, there was no need to swallow them by himself. He could go to the transaction interface, and exchange them for new items with other divine tree masters. Lu Shu picked the intermediate spiritual energy fruits first. Take a bite. The fragrant juice with fresh sweetness echoes in Lu Shu's mouth and enters the abdomen along the esophagus. Lu Shu suddenly felt that the spiritual energy seemed to moisturize his whole body at this moment, and his whole body fell into an endless world. In the ocean of happiness, rippling wantonly. So cool. Lu Shu has never eaten such delicious fruit in his life. I can't tell what kind of fruit it tastes, only the flat peach in the sky can describe the taste of this fruit. When the whole spiritual energy fruit is eaten, Lu Shu feeling that your whole body is full of strength. Fight hunger and be yourself. Not only does your physical strength recover instantly, but your brain becomes much clearer. Does this spiritual energy fruit have such a powerful effect? Lu Shu showed an unexpected expression. He picked off another kung fu fruit and swallowed it. When the kung fu fruit was eaten, Lu Shu's mind came up with an additional skill called the tips for running the exercises of Juyuan Ju. At the same time, there is also a lot of knowledge about spiritual energy and immortality, which is imprinted in the brain. I see. Lu Shu now understood that the spiritual energy contained in the spiritual energy fruit can be used for cultivation. Even ordinary people can increase their strength if they eat it. Of course, in order not to waste it, it is best to use exercises to introduce the spiritual energy into the dantian. Within, he officially entered the stage of qi training. Trying to operate the most basic breathing method in Ju Yuan Ju, Lu Shu unexpectedly found that he seemed to have automatically learned the breathing method without any need to learn. The application was as skillful as instinct. All of this is the miraculous effect brought by the strength of the sacred tree. Boom! Not long after, a thunderous sound came from Lu Shu's body. Breakthrough, that he opened his eyes and quickly called up the system panel to check. Personal information, Divine Tree Master, Tree Raider, Ability, NaN, Training Level, First Level of Qi Training Realm, Talent, 100-fold Increase, SSS-level, Fruit of All Realms, SSS-level, Spring Revival, SSS-level, Luck, E.Spirit, D-, Sacred Tree. 1. In addition to the change in practice level, the spirit has also been improved. Lu Shu's eyes showed a bit of joy. It turns out that as your cultivation level improves, your spirit will also improve. At this time. Ding. Your aura fruit tree has reached its first production cycle, low-level aura fruit plus 100. Chapter 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Now, the aura fruit tree is already covered with crystal clear fruits. Counted carefully, a total of 100. Lu Shu's eyes flashed with joy, and he hurriedly picked a few spiritual energy fruits. 3 times 5 divided by 2, 1 spiritual energy fruit was eaten by Lu Shu. Pure spiritual energy travels along the meridians in the body, and is summarized in the dantian following Lu Shu's Ju Yuan Ju. The cultivation level in the body is growing bit by bit. 1 is not enough. Lu Shu swallowed the intermediate spiritual energy fruit. In comparison, the effect of the high-level spiritual energy fruit was not so obvious, but fortunately, he had 100 fruits. When he swallowed the third fruit, boom! Breakthrough again. He has reached the second level of qi training. However, Lu Shu obviously has no intention of stopping. He feels that the power in his body is more abundant. When he started the game of the sacred tree, he actually had the cultivation level. Others are still there. I am worried about what to eat. I have already taken the Reiki fruit and reached the second level of qi training. If others find out, I am afraid that I will doubt my life. When I swallow the 10th Reiki fruit, boom! Breakthrough to the third level of qi training. When Lu Shu swallowed the 11th fruit, he stopped. Now, the effect of the primary spiritual energy fruit is no longer so obvious. Hiccup. The most important thing is that Lu Shu is too full. After swallowing so many spiritual energy fruits, it will take time to digest them. Open the transaction interface. Lu Shu was thinking about whether to use the spiritual energy fruits to exchange for some good things with other divine tree masters. As a result, he found that the trading interface is still empty at this moment. Also, the other sacred tree masters are still hungry now. Where can they throw things on it for trading? With a thought. Lu Shu opened the sacred tree panel. At this moment. Product information has been updated. Product life fruit production cycle 3.65 days 365/100. The next fruit turns out to be the fruit of life. Lu Shu secretly thought in his heart, according to the system introduction, the life fruit can give birth to all kinds of incredible magical creatures. Unfortunately, the location of the subspecies spiritual tree has been used up. Otherwise, this life fruit can be buried. The level of the divine tree is still very important. If nothing else, the location of the subspecies spiritual tree is a particularly precious resource. Lu Shu opens the panel. Growth points, 475. One day it will grow into a spiritual tree. Lu Shu felt a little happy in his heart. He suddenly remembered that there was a basin of saved water in his cabin that could be used for watering. However, after thinking about it, Lu Shu still chose to keep the water. It rained heavily yesterday. It rained heavily, and now the rainwater has reached saturation for the growth of the sacred tree. The rest only needs to wait for 1 day. After 1 day, Lu Shu slept happily again. When he got up, He felt that the experience was particularly good. Most of the spiritual energy fruit I swallowed yesterday was consumed. Cultivation level is close to breaking through to the 4th level of Qi training. Get out of the cabin. The sacred tree in the center of the island has grown into a spiritual tree that is 4 meters high. Ding! Congratulations on your sacred tree, it has grown into a primary spiritual tree. Divine tree, stage, primary spiritual tree, sunlight, 130/day, 1.3 by 100, spiritual energy, 110/day, 1.1 by 100, subspecies spiritual tree remaining capacity, 3. Products, life fruit, production cycle, 2.65 days, 265 divided by 100 is equal to 2.5, growth points, 625, 2.4 x 100 equals 240/day, next stage, intermediate spiritual tree, 5,000 growth points, view the panel, Lu Shu's eyes lit up. Growth rate has been improved. Moreover, now have planting locations for 3 subspecies of spirit trees, compared to 1 position in the sapling period, 3 positions, there is much more maneuverable space than before. Lu Shu plans to give up one of the positions to the fruit of life. After that, let's see what happens to the divine tree. Such a product, upgrading to an intermediate spiritual tree requires 5,000 growth points. Even if there is a 100-fold increase, it will take nearly 20 days. It will take 2.5 days for the fruit of life to hatch. It's still a long time. Lu Shu sighed melancholy. If those who are still hungry hear Lu Shu's words, they will probably die from fan shui. Open, world public screen. Lu Shu planned to see what others were doing. Just then, the chat record above caught his attention. I found a pack of biscuits in the gray world, ha ha ha. Upstairs, you have entered the gray world. What is it like there? I won't tell you, just enter the gray world by yourself, I'll eat the biscuits first. At this time, a player with the ID of Mu Tingfeng suddenly spoke above. The gray world is a place similar to another world. What you can find in it all depends on your ability. However, when entering the gray world, it is best to be prepared to never come back. Some people familiar with the situation also started discussing in the chat box after seeing this sentence. Indeed, there are many good things in the gray world, but they have to be exchanged for life. A friend of mine went into the gray realm yesterday, saying he wanted to do some exploration, but there has been no news to this day. But if we don't enter the gray world, it will take years and months of the monkey to wait for the sacred tree to grow. By the time the fruit can be produced, we will have long since starved to death. We still have to enter the gray world to find a chance to survive. TSK, anyone who persuades people to enter the gray world deserves to be struck by lightning from heaven. It's better to hide in the island for safety. However, no matter what everyone thinks, until now, people have entered the gray world one after another. They can't survive by drinking rainwater and eating grass all day long, right? By the time the sacred tree grows, I'm afraid it will be cold. Although hiding in the island can keep you alive, it may not be a good choice. Lu Shu did not forget that when he came in, the rules of the game said that he must resist the invasion of the gray world. In other words, sooner or later, everyone will he has to face the crisis of the gray world. He also somewhat understands why the sacred tree master has nothing except the island. It turns out that there is a hidden rule that requires players to explore the gray world. Although the gray world is dangerous, there are also opportunities. Maybe you can even find items that speed up the growth of the sacred tree. Hiding on the island is just a game of slow death for most sacred tree masters. Chapter 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Obviously, many sacred tree masters have recently become aware of this rule and have begun to explore the gray world. Lu Shu looked at the gray world outside the island and began to think in his heart, it is impossible to enter the gray world by yourself. It's too dangerous inside. If you don't understand the rules, you might encounter unknown dangers if you go in. What if you die? However, when the fruit of life matures, you can let your pet explore the gray world on your behalf. For Lu Shu, there is no need to venture into the gray world personally, he only needs to cultivate the sacred tree and that's it. There should already be divine tree masters who have gained some gains in the gray world. Lu Shu's heart moved slightly. From what Mu Tingfeng said, it can be judged that some of the sacred tree masters who entered the gray world first may have made some new discoveries. Although he did not enter the gray world, it does not mean that he can't exchange the fruit for the good things inside. Open the trading interface. It's still empty. Lu Shu released the first item on it. Seller, Lu Shuren. Product, Aura Fruit. Type, Fruit of the Sacred Tree. Trading requirements, high-end items in the gray world, preferably helpful for the growth of the sacred tree. And, information related to the gray world. When Lu Shu released the product, a series of invitation messages suddenly appeared in front of him. The entire forum exploded instantly. Damn it, everyone, look at the trading interface, someone is actually selling fruits. You're not lying, are you? My sacred tree is still a sapling. Are you telling me that someone has already produced fruits? He should be a boss who has awakened his S-level talent. I'm jealous, why don't I have the luck to draw such a good talent? Woohoo, I'm sore. At Tree Raider, boss, can I trade cookies with you for fruits? This is something I discovered in the gray world. Don't be embarrassed upstairs. People are already growing fruits. Do you care about your broken biscuits? Boss, please give me a fruit. I'm starving. I'm going to die if I don't eat. Ridiculous. A white wolf with empty gloves. Do you think others are the Holy Mother and the Savior Bodhisattva? Why should I give it to you if I don't have anything in exchange? Lu Shu looked at a bunch of invitation windows that appeared in front of him and was speechless for a while. He sent a sentence in the chat box. There are harvesters in the gray world. You can trade with me. Food is not needed. You need to promote the growth of the sacred tree. Resource. Then, all these messy invitation links were blocked. In the transaction interface, there is a transaction confirmation window. Many players try to trade a bunch of scraps. Not only are there ridiculous things like iron pots and wooden basins, but even grass is here. Lu Shu looked at it and wanted to curse for a while. Isn't it true that, except for yourself, billions of people are so poor that they can't afford a single good thing? The only thing that was better was the biscuits. However, Lu Shu had the spiritual energy fruit, and these rough foods no longer tasted good to him. At this time, a trading window appeared in front of Lu Shu. The sacred tree master, Mu Tingfeng, invites you to trade. The guy who revealed the information. Lu Shu's eyes moved slightly. He clicked on the transaction interface. An item appeared in the other party's transaction window. Item, primary fertilizer. Function, coming from the gray world, it can quickly promote the growth of sacred trees. Confirm transaction. Beside the item, there is also a transaction chat window. Lu Shu thought about it and entered a line of text. I need to get information about the gray world. You ask. The other party quickly replied to the message. What is the gray world like? A maze filled with gray fog. Mu Tingfeng simply described, in this maze, it is a bit like a city with borders. The visual range of the sacred tree master is very limited, which is equivalent to traveling in the fog. When I entered the gray world, I saw a manor and got fertilizer, but outside the manor was a demon city. Regarding the gray world, I only know a small part of it. As for what everyone will encounter, it's hard to say. As for the laws of the gray world, I haven't figured it out yet. Lu Shu hesitated for a moment, confirming whether what Mu Tingfeng said was true or not. Then, the other party continued, there may be some monsters in the gray world. If you are lucky or have the ability to avoid risks, you can go in and explore. Risk avoidance, what ability are you talking about? Lu Shu continued to ask. He didn't want to miss any bit of information. Fruit from the sacred tree. Mu Tingfeng said, I think I have said enough. Lu Shu pondered for a moment. Indeed, Mu Tingfeng said enough. Regarding the ability to avoid risks, there is no need for people to tell themselves, saying it comes from the sacred tree is beyond the content of the transaction. Okay, I accept the deal with you. Lu Shu clicked to agree. Ding. You get primary fertilizer. The trading interface is a public platform, and the information on it will not be false, of course. Lu Shu needs to judge the content of the intelligence by himself. Primary fertilizer is available. Lu Shu immediately came to the side of the sacred tree. Do you want to use primary fertilizer X1? Yes. Your sacred tree is absorbing fertilizer and has plus 10 growth points. Your sacred tree is absorbing fertilizer and has plus 10 growth points. Reminders appeared one after another before my eyes. A special status bar appears next to the sacred tree. Absorbing fertilizer. Duration, 3 days. The growth rate of the sacred tree has been temporarily greatly increased. 5.2 times 100 is equal to 520 days. Not only that, the production cycle of the sacred tree is also promoted by fertilizer, and the effect is doubled. Product, life fruit cycle, 1 day, 200 divided by 200 is equal to 1. What a good thing. Lu Shu's eyes suddenly lit up. The effect of the primary fertilizer can last for 3 days. This means that in the next 3 days, his sacred tree's growth rate will be doubled. The life fruit only needs it can grow in 1 day. The 5,000 growth points required from a primary spiritual tree to an intermediate spiritual tree are also much faster. I really need as much fertilizer as I want. Thinking of this, Lu Shu opened the transaction interface. Again, Lu Shu can have hundreds more aura fruits like this. Exchange them for primary fertilizers. For now, it is a good profit. Reiki fruit tree, variety, subspecies spirit tree, product, Reiki fruit, cycle, 1.825 days, 365/200, number of productions remaining, 2. With the blessing of fertilizer, there are only 1 or 2 days left until the next Reiki fruit tree. The corners of Lu Shu's mouth raised slightly. He can be sure that Mu Yuting Feng has more good things than just primary fertilizer, and may have gained more. As long as you have enough spiritual energy fruits, sooner or later, the benefits of the gray world will fall on you. And Mu Yuting Feng will definitely become interested again after trying her own fruit once. Unconsciously, the sun disappeared into the gray world. The sunshine time on the floating island is not very long. Night falls quietly. With nothing to do, Lu Shu returned to the cabin and went to bed on time after dark. When tomorrow comes, Lu Shu will have another great harvest.